Hi all and welcome to episode 40 of Plain Speaking Sanjiv. I've been not doing this for the last 3 or 4 days because I've been busy with some other stuff. But today I'm back and I'm back with a story about my childhood days and about my passion for aviation and how I view passion as being one of the key differentiating factors for those who want to have a career in aviation and succeed, and has been often a criteria I've been using when I interview people, especially for core aviation jobs such as network planning, etc. I want to see the passion. I want to see that people really want to do this because they love doing it. So anyhow, let's go back to my childhood days. First exhibit is this model airplane kit. It's Northwest Airlines Northwest Orient DC-1040, and I used to build kits like this throughout my childhood, starting at about 6 or 7 years old. The kits come in this shape. They are disassembled in parts. Let me see if I can get a better view. And you need to obviously cut them out, paint them, glue them, put putty, sand it, make it look completely as if it was not built from parts but it came as a whole. Put decals on them like these, which basically you float on water and then they slide off, and then you slide them onto the body of the aircraft. And eventually the aircraft, which starts off like this, becomes one of those display models. And I used to just look forward to building these throughout my childhood. Unfortunately, you couldn't get them in India, but fortunately for me, my father used to travel abroad fairly regularly for his business, and he used to keep bringing me back these models. So for that, I'm eternally grateful. And I always focus on commercial aircraft models, even though I did make some military aircraft as well. The other passion I had was not just Pan Am the airline, but collecting airline timetables. This is a Pan Am timetable from 1990, which was much after my childhood, but it's one of the few surviving samples I have of old airline timetables when they used to be printed. And they used to be printed with all the details, and they used to have the terminal maps, well, route map, and then map of the airport terminals, etc. And I used to read these books as if they were these timetables as if they were, bestsellers or thrillers, cover to cover, memorize much of it. And in fact, one of my closest friends from childhood and we used to roam around Calcutta on weekends, on Saturday mornings when airline offices were open, and go into them and ask them for copies of the timetable, and ask them for any brochures or anything else they may have had. And some airlines were very nice about it. Some airlines, pretended it didn't have anything, but it was part of the passion that we had for aviation. And I remember that there was one phase I went through, maybe I was in class 5 or 6, when I collected all the timetables from different airlines, and I then looked up the address of the head office and I wrote to them, asking if they would send me some brochures or pamphlets or photos of aircraft. And I remember just one airline responded all the way, even though I picked it up at Calcutta. The airline that responded to me was SAS, all the way from Stockholm. They sent me, a letter with some photographs and postcards of aircraft. So that made SAS a favorite of mine, because they took the trouble to respond to a class 5 or class 6 boys letter all the way from India, to respond from the head office and send it to me. So anyhow, that's a story from my childhood. Now, the reason to talk about this is that one of the things, like I mentioned, that I really emphasize, if you're hiring somebody into a position which requires a lot of attention to detail and passion and intelligence gathering and benchmarking of competitors, etc., I like to hire people who are not only smart and can do the work technically, but those who love to do the work. And in fact, at Vistara, the network planning team was almost half built up of people. About half the team were people who were aviation passionate people, avgeeks as they call it, who used to write blogs and publish it on on the internet and on Twitter, etc., analyzing aircraft networks and schedules and timings and performance and so on and so forth. And I thought to myself that if these guys can do so much work on their own as a hobby, imagine what they would do if we paid them for it. And indeed, some of our strongest performers and key contributors came from such interactions, where we first saw them on social media, and we reached out to them and said, would you like to come and talk to us about working for us? Now, of course, what I don't want this to come across as is that all you need to do is be on social media and show some interest in aviation and you'll get a job, because you have to not just show the interest, but you also have to have the smarts. And again, I don't mean that to be a negative or to turn people off, but we basically need people who can number crunch. I've talked in the past about MECE, logical thinking, being able to put frameworks together, see things from different points of view, look comprehensively at a problem, yet simplify it. But we also want people who can do a lot of analysis, a lot of number crunching, lots of data to analyze, but do it with passion and do it with the knowledge of being an aviation fanatic who understands, not, city names and airport names are not just names. They've actually researched them and they know who else flies there and what are the fares being charged and what are the timings of the flights, etc. And all of that really goes into making somebody a highly productive and valued employee. So anyhow, some of these people have now moved on from airlines and joined careers elsewhere in the aviation world, at OEMs, etc. But they've all, been very valuable contributors. And the bottom line is, if you can make your passion, into your career, there's nothing like it, because then you get paid to do something that you love to do. You get paid to do something that you look forward to doing every day when you wake up in the morning. So hope that helps. There's a phone ringing out here, so I need to hang up now. Take care and see you again tomorrow. Bye.